evening, Scribe.
Good evening, Patty. How the devil are you?
Good as always.
Good girl.
So, today we talk about your new project. DL Reborn.
Yes. Yes, something new.
So, to make it short, it's a book, but not quite a book.
No,
Because
it's not.
it's in audio format.
That's correct. For the first time, we are going to put together an audio package so that each chapter is released in an audio format for people to buy. And obviously, as we go each month, a new chapter will be released, and we're building up towards the full book. It will only be available initially as an audio book. However, once we're into the system and it is running smoothly and each production is out there, then it will come out in an ebook format for people that like to read. And of course, when it is complete, we will issue a limited edition paperback version of the complete story that will only be available through certain sources, and each one will be numbered and signed and dedicated by yours truly. So it truly will be a limited edition. It won't be available on general release. So that'll just be a special for those that like to have the Scribe in their hands. So, as a paperback.
So, everyone who doesn't want to wait has to listen to you.
Yes, they do.
Oh no,
My
a terrible fate.
I know. But there aren't many books out there that the authors actually read themselves. So a little bit different, and hopefully we can put a different spin on these things. I would like it when it is finished production and all the editing and everything else has been completed. I would like it to sound as though I am literally talking directly to the person, not a commercialized, slick and sharp and very precise actor-generated voice. It is going to be me telling the story.
So it's with the charm of the Scribe.
I hope so. I hope people see it that way, Patty. But I just think it's a very personal thing to read one's own work and share it in that format. Obviously, people are going to want it to be clear and concise so that they can follow the story. However, like I said, we will try and put a different spin on it, put a Scribe spin on it, so that it does feel as though it's more an intimate reading rather than an off-the-shelf production. So that is the aim. Obviously, we're in the process of production now. We're going through all the form, what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. But I'm looking forward to getting stuck in. We've got editing going on at the moment because effectively it is going to turn into a script. I have to be able to read it and relate it to the audience in the way that I want it to be done. So we'll try and keep it as professional as we can, but with a personal touch.
Sounds good. Can't wait to listen to the first one.
I'm looking forward to doing it. I really am. I like a challenge, Patty. It's something that I've never entertained before. We've done readings before, yes. We read that chapter out of Past Imperfect. And we've done a little bit on the prose. But nothing of this nature. So It is a challenge. It will all be subject to feedback from listeners, because they will soon be aware that there is going to be a complete system running behind it. Those that are familiar with the Twitter and that type of format will see the hashtags that are going to be running alongside the hashtag DL Reborn. Is going to be an interactive forum where obviously anything reference the book or things that are going on around that book can be discussed, and opinions and everything else put forward.
So what people tweet there, will it influence you in your writing?
Yes, it will. I will admit that I've explained before how I write. I do not script these things out. I do not know from the moment I sit down at the keyboard where the story is going to go. It creates itself as it's written. So obviously, if there are certain pointers that I know certain, I'm not going to bow to peer pressure. However, I will take on board what people are saying. And if it falls within the remit of the story and it fits the way the story is going, then yes, of course, people may well be able to influence some certain situations.
Everyone who always wanted to be a muse?
Mm-hmm.
A muse for the Scribe. Now is the chance.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Because I will listen to these at least once a week at some point, and we will schedule it. It will come out as a live event, and we'll be doing it through the TWUB system, I do believe. I will be in there to talk directly with people and deal with any questions, queries, talk about any ideas that they have, any issues the book has raised. So, we can have a one-on-one conversation, or one-on whatever it is, however people are in there. But at least they can talk to me directly. And we will try and keep that going. Well, we won't try. We will keep that going as we go through the book, as it starts to develop, so that everybody knows more or less where it's come from, where it's going, what the future holds. Clues will be released, little teasers will be released to give people ideas of exactly what is involved. The lovely Sarah, who is doing the covers for each chapter, has the briefing that the picture that goes alongside, that forms the cover, will be based on the storyline that runs through that chapter. So
the picture will be a sneak peek.
Yes, it will. It'll be giving people an idea of the setting, of where the next chapter is set. So if it's a dark and moody and a very heavily DS-related picture, then listeners will know that there's going to be one or two little naughty bits in there. So, and I can imagine certain followers of mine now they'll be all lining up and they'll be scrabbling and flicking through all the chapters looking for the dark pictures, and those with somebody looking in a state of forced ecstasy, shall I say. But that will be the idea. I like, it's my nature is I like to tease and I like to torment. But in this particular case, little hints won't do anybody any harm, will they?
Okay, let's talk about DL. Because I'm sure most people already know, but DL Reborn is the 6th, 7th?
It's the 6th sixth book that he's appeared in. Yes. When I completed the saga, the Darkside saga, and ended with Future Desires, there was always more. There was always more to write. Certain characters had stayed with the books from start to finish. The likes of Lady J, Angela, obviously DL, and a couple of other characters drifted in during the course of the saga and made themselves a home purely because people related to them or they liked the character. Lady J, Angela, has had an awful lot of people saying, come to tell me that they really like that character. They like her as a person. And I'm sure she would be pleased to know that in real life, because as everybody knows, these characters are based on real people. So there was continuity to be maintained when I looked at, let's bring him back. Because obviously as the most controversial character within the saga, and the one that is drawn, in a lot of cases, the most criticism, people either love him or loathe him. There is no in-between. And when I've taken on board the comments from reviews and people contacting me direct, and the critiques that I've seen, then obviously he's an enigmatic character that, like I said, people either love or loathe. When I looked at the format for DL Reborn, I looked at it in a different way. I thought, here's a man that is used to getting his own way. He has everything. He creates a world and then rules over it in his own inimitable style. Though towards the end of Future Desires he'd taken a back seat and Angela, Lady J, had taken over, he was still omnipresent. In the background, he was always there. Taking him into the future, I thought, right, okay, how are we going to take a man from that position? And taking on board all the comments and the critiques that we've had regarding him, how do we make him human? How do we make people see that he's fallible, he is flawed, as well as dark and deviant as he often gets? So the premise of DL Reborn grew from the idea of showing a different side to him. It's not a spoiler for me to say, in as much that I decided to break him. I decided to, let's strip him bare, let's see what's inside that character, let's see how deep and damaged and dark he really is. So the whole format of the story is going to be, we're going to break him. We are going to put him down on his knees and we're going to let the world see that there is a fallibility about him. He is not indestructible. He is not one of these fantasy characters that has it all, does it all, and is untouched by the rest of the world. And once we've done that, and we've broken him down, and we've stripped him raw, basically, and revealed what needs to be shown inside, and what he has to show. I mean, I don't know yet. I've got to break him down. I've got to take him through that process. I have ideas, obviously, because you know how I work. There's stories running through my head all the time. And DL Reborn is sat there in one of those murky depths in the corner of the brain, churning away quietly. Over the last few months, it's been something that's been in there for a few months. So I know where it's going to go, but I've still got to do it. And then we're going to build him back up. We're going to take all those elements, and we're going to take the elements of his past, his abilities, his charisma, sheer presence within the life, and then we're going to bring him back. Now, what people aren't going to know until they actually read it, is it going to be better or worse? Mm-hmm. Is he going to be, the new improved Yale, or is he going to be a lot darker?
Ooh.
See, I don't know yet.
I know what I'm rooting for.
Now there is a part of me that also roots for that. Because there is nothing I like more than writing something very dark. And really getting under the skin of something and making it almost feral. It is very raw, and it's, as they say, nature red in tooth and claw. Get it down to its basics. I like that. So,
but it won't be 100 pages, or rather minutes, of breaking him down without any naughty. I hope.
Patty, this is me you're talking to.
Question answered.
As a matter of course, I'm going to try and make this relevant to today's inhabitants of the lifestyle, and, I hate the word, but the vanilla world. And regardless of somebody's position, there is still room for them to indulge in the pleasures of life, regardless of where they find themselves, if it's presented, of course. So in the natural course of things, and of course, in his reflection on his life, there are obviously going to be references to occasions, times and moments when he took pleasure in his own inimitable style. So, of course, that will be relayed in the book. There will be new adventures that he will find, he will go on. How, where, what and why, obviously that is something that the listeners and the readers will discover as it appears. But that is the reasoning behind taking a character like that and moving him forward. I don't decry the plethora of billionaire books that are out there, and immensely wealthy men. And, it's almost become a cliched. I don't want to go down the route of saving him, as is the want of other publications where he is rescued by a fair maiden, and all his dark deeds are forgiven and he emerges as a new man. I'm not going to look at that, because I'm a firm believer that we are what we create ourselves. And it's a phrase that I often use, is we are where we're meant to be. And for him, and for the purpose of the story, he is meant to be there. But the only person that can give him the rebirth is himself. So that is the journey that we're going to take the listeners and the readers on. I hope they enjoy it. There will be certain areas that might make people wince a little bit. There might be one or two raised eyebrows. There may even be elements of disappointment.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh, no. You've got to look at these things realistically, Patty. Because of the nature of his character, there are some that have embraced him as a dominant. Suddenly see their favourite dominant, their favourite character, flawed and as a simple man, might spoil some of the mystique for them. It's a risk I'm prepared to take for the nature of the story. It will make the story deeper. It will hopefully make it more interesting. Because people will go on the journey with him, and they will see what it takes to create the type of person that he actually is. And then, of course, when he starts to rebuild himself, then they can follow the processes and the shifts in the mind and the mental strength that it takes to become that person that everybody feared in the past and everybody wibbled over because of his darkness and the element that he would simply do things because he could.
So, a journey is what describes both his journey and your journey to do this project that is
Yes.
something I've never heard of before in that way.
Yes.
Oh, that should be interesting.
You know that an awful lot of things that I write are based around things that are going on, either around me or near me or in my life, or things that are relevant and pertinent to me, even important in some cases. So there will be elements that I will draw on from my own journey in becoming the Scribe, who is officially just over a year old as an entity as such. As a writer, you know, the Scribe is coming up to 4 years old. He'll be 4 years old in July. Which sounds a little strange, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it has all been a journey. It's been a very interesting journey. Very humbling, but completely enjoyable. I wouldn't change it for thought. I wouldn't go back 20 years to the position I was then. I would not do that now. Because regardless of everything that was around me then,
You didn't have me as the audio wizard. I know.
no, I didn't. I would miss you terribly, Patty.
No.
But I just enjoy doing what I do too much now. I wouldn't have it any other way. But that's we're getting away.
Yes.
So that is where DL Reborn is going to come from. Slightly left field. The way we're going to produce it is going to be slightly left field. Where it's going to go, nobody knows. I have no idea, folks, what is going to occur in those stories, because that is the way I write it. I sit, I start tapping away, and the story appears. I have an idea of where we're going to take it. I know that, if you can imagine, it's I have a partially completed skeleton of the story. As I sit and write, I will start adding the missing bones, and then we start putting the muscles in place and the organs and everything else. We start filling it out until we end up with a complete creature. And that is how the book will build.
And everyone can help.
Everyone can help, yes. There's people out there that will interact with this, hopefully. And, they will pass me a chunk of flesh, a muscle here and there, a patch of skin, maybe even a major organ, because they will spark a chain of thought. And that chain of thought will then reflect directly in the story. It will become a part of. Whether they know that or not, and whether they recognise it, I don't know, but I will certainly give credit where credit's due if somebody actually comes up with an idea or a premise that becomes absorbed within the story. I will let them know. And they will have my thanks.
One question. If someone hasn't read all the other books, will he or she still be able to follow the story, or should you have read all the other books?
I am putting in enough retrospective for, hopefully, people to be able to pick up on the backgrounding. As a shameless plug, they've all been reduced in price and they're all available now. The whole 5 are available at a reduced price. So the saga is going to be broken down so it can be picked up as a package quite reasonably. And then people can catch up in their own time. But hopefully, the way I've looked at the stories, there will be flashbacks, there will be remembrances, there will be recollections, there will be retrospective flicks back in the story for the purposes of clearing up certain points. Because obviously people will want to know, well, who the hell's that? Where have they come from? Who are they? Or what is he referring to? If I take people into areas that are directly related to his past, then there will be a little bit of catch-up. Not too much, because I don't want to rewrite the previous books, but enough for them to follow the story. I don't want to make it, it would be pointless in me making it exclusively for those that have read the saga. Because, as with all writers, we're looking for new audiences. We're trying to attract new readers. So we've got to give them something that is a standalone story in its own right, with enough, information for them to follow the chain of events as they occur. Obviously, those that have read the saga will see things in there that those that haven't won't, because they will pick up on, oh yes, I remember that, or he did that in such and such book. Certainly if he's having a little remembrance of a, shall we say, an encounter with a girl, they may well, though it'll be described as, in full the encounter again, from a different viewpoint, there will be those that will be able to look back on it and say, I remember when he did that. So, it's a balance. But in answer to your question, that I've gone all the way around the circle, so apologies, folks. Yes, new readers will be able to follow the story.
Good.
Somebody said to me the other day, you're a typical writer. You never give a simple answer. Tell a story instead of an answer.
Yeah, that's true.
It is. It's the nature of the beast. It's it's what makes a scribe, I think. And no apologies.
Anything else?
I think we've covered most bases. All I would say is, obviously, I hope that people do interact. I hope they follow the hashtag DL format. They come and say hello. They give me their thoughts. They give me the feedback. I can't say it often enough. As a writer, you live on your feedback. You eat your reviews. It sustains you. And you cannot have enough of them, good or bad. The bad ones teach you things. The good ones tell you that you're on the right track. So if people become involved and they interact and they start to absorb the story, as I hope they will, then come and tell us, come and talk to us, come and take part, because it is a journey. It's his journey, and we can all tag along and watch. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I think we've covered everything.
Yeah. Half an hour, that should be.
Half an hour? We've been talking for half an hour. Good grief.
It's because you always tell stories and never give simple answers.
Yes. Well, like I said, no apologies for that. I is what I is, Patty. Oh, and for those that don't know, here's a little bit of background for you. Patty and I were talking about the not presentation, that's the wrong word, the nature of the characters that are going to appear in these books and how do I voice them. Yes. So, folks, I promise now I shall try not to slip into funny voices. I love voices, I love accents, I love all those kinds of things, and I'm a terrible mimic. I can't help myself. If somebody has an accent that I find fascinating, give me half an hour and I'm in it. I'm talking in some weird and wonderful thing. So I shall try and avoid that. We won't get any slips into Scribe selection of weird and wonderful voices.
Yes, please. Or the next recording I will have a really bad German accent.
God, no. I feel like I'm being interrogated. But you know I like the German accent, Patty, because having lived there for 3 years, it was something I became accustomed to. So, your English is far better than my German could ever be. So, and it was interesting that in the book that people are just about to get, The Holiday Hotspots, there was a German character in there that I sort of dabbled with my little bits of German. And our lovely editor, bless her heart, pointed out the errors of my ways. And so those have changed, but I was surprised myself that I actually remembered some of the words, some of the phraseology. But no, we won't be going into accents. So, folks, you're not going to get a Scribe demonstration of all his vocal talents in character assassination, because that is what it would be if I started applying silly voices to all the characters. So, though it is a personal thing, I will be whispering in your ear while these stories are going out. I won't be putting the voices on.
Oh.
It's so tempting, though, Patty, it really is. Start going into some of these voices, but I won't. I shall resist. Resist.
Stop it! I can't stop laughing if you continue. Yes.
Okay, and we must keep it serious because it is a serious subject.
Yes.
And hopefully you're going to edit out an awful lot of the silliness, which I know you won't. You'll leave it all in because you'll embarrass me. So I look forward to our next talk. Do we have any topics lined up yet? Because I know we're looking at going into more of the BDSM, DS side. And I understand you've been doing some research for suitable subjects, so we'll go into that. And hopefully we'll have something interesting to entertain the more deviant of you. My type of people.
Oh. Until then. I shall bid you a very good evening. Oh. Wait, I wanted to say something more.
Oh, go on, that's all right.
Yes. Join the adventure, people. Join the Scribe adventure.
Yes.
Be his muse.
I look forward to seeing you all of you in the DL hashtag, the DL Reborn. Come and say hello.
Okay, now we're done.
Okay. Now you can say good night. Say good night, Scribe.
Good night, Scribe.
Good night, Patty. I shall speak to you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.